Let me be the last to wish you a happy April Fool's Day. Hopefully, you've had your guard up all day and haven't been embarrassed too much. Normally, you get fooled by a friend, or a coworker, or a neighbor, but once in a while, we get fooled by theme parks. They'll come out and talk about this awesome new ride, or a new park, and you get really excited for it. And at the last second, they pull the football away, and there you go, flying, feeling like an idiot. In honor of April Fool's Day, let's look at 10 times theme parks have played us for fools. First, I want to thank all my followers on Instagram. I reached out and asked for examples that you wanted to see on this video, so I picked out the 10 most popular ones. If you want to see more like this, drop a like on this video. If I get to 1,000, I'll make a part 2. Also, if you can think of one that wasn't part of this video, leave your idea in the comments below. Number 10, Vulture at Laval. This dates all the way back to 2011, the first American intimate Zaxpin opening at Six Flags Magic Mountain, Green Lantern First Flight, and it didn't take long to gain a bad reputation. Still, it lasted for 6 years, and then all of a sudden in 2017, it shut down. Months passed, years passed, we saw the park install trim brakes, but there was still no activity. Finally, in March 2019, almost 2 years after its closure, the park announced the ride would be removed. Then, that same day, the ride started testing out of nowhere, and it continued for the rest of the weekend. The rumor was, there was a park official from Laval that wanted to see the ride in action, and sure enough, a few months later, Six Flags announced Laval would be getting Vulture, the new name and new home for Green Lantern. This was set to open in 2020, but of course, COVID shut all the parks down, construction was put on hold, and the chain was trying to save money by deferring some of their projects, and at first, Vulture was only pushed to 2021. Then, it was postponed indefinitely. Finally, in 2022, the project was officially cancelled. I'm sure the people of Montreal were upset, but trust me, you're not missing anything. Number 9, Six Flags Dubai. This project was announced in 2008, a partnership between Six Flags and a company called Tatweer. This was going to have 6 different areas, 5 of them being themed to American Six Flags parks: Magic Mountain, Great Adventure, Great America, Fiesta Texas, and Great Escape. Based on the rendering, it looks like they were going to build a clone of Goliath at Great America. Of course, this park was announced right before the massive economic crash, and in 2010, Tatweer failed to make their payments, so Six Flags ended the contract and put the project on hold. 4 years passed, and Six Flags found a new partner, setting a target date of 2017. A year from launch, that got pushed to 2019, set to be part of the Dubai Parks and Resorts project. And in 2018, Dubai Parks was having major financial problems, putting the whole project in question. And in April 2019, the project was officially scrapped. There was a lot of promise here, and you can't blame them for trying. It seems like Six Flags hitched a Middle East wagon to Saudi Arabia, putting Six Flags Qiddiya in motion shortly after. Number 8, the pier hopping GCI at Mory Piers. In 2011, Mory's announced they would be building this wooden coaster for the 2013 season. This would cost $12 million, stand 110 feet tall, dive under Surfside Pier in a long tunnel with a trick track, emerging on the other side of the pier into this airtime hill over a bridge, designed to look like a sailboat, and the rest of the layout would be on Hunt's Pier, your typical Twister GCI layout, then back over the bridge and into the tunnel. This didn't have a name, but the Mory brothers were kicking around the names Wild Woody and Boardwalk Flyer. This is a very similar concept to Hades at Mount Olympus, just the GCI version. However, this never happened. One theory is, the park got tied up in litigation following a death on the Ferris wheel that summer. There may have been more to it than just that, but that didn't help. Number 7, the Energylandia Tilt Coaster. Ever since it opened in 2014, this park in Poland has been adding coasters like crazy. It took Magic Mountain 50 years to get up to 20 coasters, and Energylandia was set to do it in just 10. That's partially because a lot of their coasters are very small, but also they get funding from the European Union. Regardless, they were going to get a Vekoma Tilt Coaster to mark their 20th coaster in 2024, set to be located in the back of the park next to Zadra. Vekoma built the first one back in 2002, and they were set to finally bring this back to life, its main feature being a tilt track that connected the vertical drop. This was announced in 2022, got pushed back to 2025, and in October 2023, the contract was terminated and the whole project was scrapped. Some people think this has to do with their financing and their grant from the EU, and it could be related to the reason their new Sweet Valley section got delayed by 2 years, and those problems may or may not have been related to COVID. Number 6. Mary Poppins at Epcot. In 2018, Disney was planning a new ride to Epcot's UK Pavilion. The next year, at the D23 Expo's panel, the Mary Poppins neighborhood was announced. It was more than just a spinning ride as a lot of people thought. It would be a whole neighborhood. This would take guests into the film from 1964, taking place in 1910, walk down Cherry Tree Lane, past Admiral Boom's house, into the Banks' home, and that was the main attraction. Based on lead concept art in 2023, that rumored spinning ride turned out to be teacups. Then COVID hits. In July 2020, the park reopens, but both Spaceship Earth, Our Shared Story, and Mary Poppins got removed from the Epcot experience. The park was asked for comment, and they confirmed the project was postponed as they evaluate all their long-term projects. To this day, Mary Poppins remains on ice. Number 5. Disney's America. In 1993, Disney CEO Michael Eisner announced this brand new park for Northern Virginia, 35 miles west of Washington, D.C. It would have an overall theme of the history of the USA, and it was set to open in 1998. It was priced at $650 million, somewhere between 125 and 185 acres. It would have hotels, a golf course, retail and commercial development, 9 themed areas, and to Disney's surprise, they had quite the backlash. This was centered around its theme, historians objecting to the way they would portray the history of the country, trivializing important events through entertainment. Also, their subsidies were suddenly under fire from the state legislature. Michael Eisner loved this project and he did everything he could to save it. But in September 1994, they pulled the plug. Construction costs were rising. The company had already lost $900 million following the 1992 opening of Disneyland Paris. The opponents of the park had a lot of funding, and the project faced an onslaught of bad press. At first, they thought they'd only have to shut the park down for 2 months in the winter, but after another look, they changed that to 4 months. That would result in a 20% hit in revenue. Disney actually tried to buy Knott's Berry Farm from the Knott family in 1997, wanting to turn that park into Disney's America, but Knott's didn't sell to them, they sold to Cedar Fair instead. As a consolation, some of the best aspects of Disney's America found their way into California Adventure when that park opened in 2001. Number 4. The Orlando Polar Coaster. The Polar Coaster was an invention from US Thrill Rides, getting some help from Intamin. This was designed to use a 500-foot tower and stick a roller coaster on the side, winding its way all the way down. Development began in 2012, and they sold one to a park in Orlando during the 2013 IAAPA Expo. This would go to Mango's Tropical Cafe, building a new Skyplex indoor entertainment center, and this polar coaster called Skyscraper would be its main attraction. This was officially announced in June of 2014, set to open in 2016. As with any prototype, there were design changes. They had issues with their permits, and suddenly, the groundbreaking was moved to 2017. They also wanted to add VR headsets to Skyscraper, and the new target opening date was set for 2019. Once 2019 rolled around, the budget for Skyplex was cut in half, $500 million down to $250 million. The opening date was pushed to 2020, and mid-year, the ride was taken off the website. The owner still wanted to build this, but between COVID, the announcement of Epic Universe, and apparently legal attacks from Universal, the project was scrapped, and in late 2022, US Thrill Rides filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. There have been 4 proposals for the polar coaster, and none of them came through. Number 3. El Rio LTO at Six Flags Over Texas. On August 30th, 2023, Six Flags announced all of their 2024 editions, and that included El Rio LTO for Six Flags Over Texas, set to be one of the world's longest log flumes. This was basically combining the park's 2 log flumes into one, adding in an additional lift and drop, the ride now spanning over 2,500 feet. It didn't take long for this idea to disappear, as just over a month later, the project was removed from the website. Some say this was because of corporate drama, but it may have also been due to technical issues, the engineering of combining the log flumes not being possible. So, why would they announce this project before they did the analysis? It may have been to line up with a chain-wide announcement, having to make it public before they knew they could do it. The money would stay with the park and be used to renovate both log flumes, but they would not be combined as promised. Number 2. The Stratosphere Fishhook. In 2001, Las Vegas' tallest building announced plans to build a 740-foot coaster. This would be built by Aerodynamics, starting at the bottom of the tower, using an elevator lift going near the top, coming out and dropping straight down 700 feet, reaching 122 miles an hour, crossing Las Vegas Boulevard, and rising up a 415-foot fishhook on the other side. This was an absolutely enormous coaster, and naturally, not everyone was on board. The end of the hook would be close to a neighborhood, and there was a lot of pushback over the noise this would generate. plus the eyesore of a 400-foot structure in the neighborhood. The Stratosphere tried to compromise, and in 2002, they lowered the height from 740 feet to 510 feet, the speed going from 122 miles an hour to 93 miles an hour, and the fishhook going from 415 feet to 325 feet. They also offered to enclose the car so nobody can hear the rider scream. This was also denied. The Stratosphere tried to appeal this in court, but lost all their challenges. Arrow went bankrupt shortly after, and it was all over. This would have been amazing to see in person, but it wasn't meant to be. Number 1. Turbulence at Hershey Park. In 2004, Hershey Park announced the first of its kind ride, the free-falling tower coaster. This would be built by Interactive Rides for the price of $2 million, using the name Turbulence. It would stand 150 feet tall and have 750 feet of track, riders being lifted to the top and winding down a series of hairpin turns. This was going to be built in the new Founders Circle, right next to the carousel. At the end of 2004, Hershey Park announced they were suing Interactive Rides, citing breach of contract. This was following the news that Interactive Rides increased their cost estimate by over $1 million, citing higher costs from their steel vendors. Interactive Rides would countersue Hershey Park on the grounds that they didn't make their first 2 production payments, and they didn't provide adequate specifications, ending up unilaterally terminating the contract. It's likely the 2 parties settled out of court and never spoke to each other again, and Turbulence remained just an idea left for the history books. 14 years later, Ride Engineer Switzerland would take up this model and open Wilde-Hilde at Schwabenpark in Germany, the world's first rollerball coaster. So there you go, 10 times we've been bamboozled by the theme park industry. If you have any thoughts on these stories, or if you have another one that you want to see in the next installment, let me know in the comments below. Get me to 1,000 likes on this, and that'll let me know that you want to see a part 2. If you're new here and want to see more content like this, please give me a sub, and check out my second channel where I post copyright-free off-ride footage, and my baseball channel if you love baseball like I do. Once again, happy April Fool's Day, and I'll see you all next time.